Hello everyone, my name is Mirna and on behalf of the Mindalia TV team, welcome to Mindalia live streaming, where thousands of people around the world gather daily on a series of lectures and interviews programmed by Mindalia TV. Today with us, Angel Ribo, CEO, consultant, TV host, international public speaker, and president of the Wisdom for Kids Foundation, is co-hosting with our dear Dan Blanchard. Dan is a best-selling and award-winning author, speaker, and educator. Before starting with them, we want to remind you that Mindalia's mission is to share information that can help raise the level of consciousness around the world, and you can help us by subscribing to our channel, leaving us a positive comment down this video, or sharing it with someone that you know that is going to benefit of the content that we're going to be talking here today. Also, while we are live streaming, we have the active chat, the screen that you're going to be seeing here on my side, and through there you can enter your questions. You can also see it on the bottom of this email in case that you're seeing us from our smartphone. We also want you to collaborate with Mindalia with your own valuable content, and for that, you can go to our website. On the top, you're going to find a link that says Collaborate with Mindalia. That link is going to take you to a form that you can fill out, and our technical team will be getting in contact with you. Remember that you can collaborate with Mindalia in Portuguese through Mindalia Televisão, in English through Mindalia TV English, as you know already, and through Mindalia Televisión in Spanish. Visit our different platforms, follow our Facebook pages, Instagram accounts. With that, you not only help us reach as much people as possible, but you also keep yourself updated with the wonderful content that is shared on a daily basis. We're not going to be delaying this any further, and I'm going to leave you with Angel, with Dan, and our very special guest, Kathy Picard. She is an award-winning author and a sexual abuse prevention advocate for over 17 years. Guys, welcome to Mindalia live streaming. The screen is yours.
For this wonderful introduction. And Dan, how are you, Dan, today?
So it's great to see you again. Looking forward to doing another great show with you. We always have a great time, and Kathy's going to be a great guest today. I can't wait to see how it goes.
Exactly. Little by little, we change this world together, and we have these amazing conversations. And we always rely on amazing people, and Kathy's not an exception. How did you know? How did you get to know Kathy, Daniel?
Well, Angel, I know you agree with this, and Kathy, I know you agree with this as well, because we're like our own kind of shakers and movers. And when you get out there and you do things, you sort of make things happen. And when you do things and make things happen, you sort of meet some pretty interesting, pretty influential people along your journey. And one of the many things that I do is that I'm the Connecticut president of the Association of Publishers for Special Sales. And I met Kathy. She's an award-winning author and a publisher herself. So I met her through like the authoring world. And she's got a great book out there and a great story out there as a survivor of sexual abuse. And not only is she a survivor, but she's a thriver in the fact that she refused to be a victim and instead became a victor. She worked it all the way up through the Massachusetts state law. And Kathy changed the law, with her speaking, with her writing, and with her advocacy and passion for what she does, right or wrong. No child should feel unsafe, especially with the people that they're supposed to trust the most. And I take my hat off to Kathy. Kathy, thank you for being on our show. Can't wait for you to share your love and passion and wisdom of what you do and how no child should ever feel unsafe in the place where they're especially supposed to feel safe. Thanks for being on the show, Kathy.
Thank you so much for having me as your guest. And Dan, like you said, sexual abuse is so common, with the statistics, 1 in every 4 girls before their 18th birthday, and with boys, 1 in every 6 boys before their 18th birthday will unfortunately be a victim of sexual abuse. And it's not stranger danger. It's not somebody that they don't know. 93% is someone that's known to the victim. It's your teachers, it's your coaches, it's the parents. It's people that they know. They walk through their front door and they're welcomed into their home because people don't know what these people are capable of doing to these young kids.
Yeah, no doubt. And I got to tell you, Kathy, I'm sure you've got like a million things you can talk about on this. But I got to tell you, like, as being a teacher, couple things that I see over and over and over again bother the heck out of me. You know what I'm saying? And one is, you know, let's say you've got a family that wasn't able to stay together. Mom and dad went their own ways for whatever reason, you know, and then mom or dad bring in like a boyfriend or a girlfriend into the home that just kind of takes over the home. And then mom or dad kind of forget the child exists. You know what I'm saying? I mean, one of the things that I see over and over and over when a kid says, oh, it's my birthday. And I'm like, cool, what are you doing tonight? And they're like, nothing, because mom or dad is out on a date, you know, with their significant other. And then mom and dad just kind of lose sight. They kind of lose sight of what's going on. And then the person they're bringing in the home may not be a good influence or a good person for their child to be around. That drives me crazy.
Yeah.
And, oh my gosh, Kathy.
And unfortunately, Dan, like you said, you know, these people will come into their family, but some of these men and women, even though they know that their child is being abused, they accept it.
Yes.
These people accept it because they want to have someone in the family. A lot of it's due to financial concerns. You know, they bring these people in their home and they stay with them for financial purposes. That is wrong. You know, you are making this child very unhealthy, very unsafe. But why? Because you want to have someone in the home? You need to be by yourself if you're going to have someone in the home that's sexually abusing a young child.
No doubt. I'm with you so much on that, Kathy. I remember years ago watching a movie, and it was, I think it might have been on West Point. It was on one of our military institutions where this colonel, his daughter was going through the institution, and during the war games, she was sexually assaulted during the war games. And then the hires, the generals, they came to him and they said, hey, you just got yourself a promotion. With the underlying unsaid thing was keep your mouth shut. You know what I'm saying? So like he sacrificed his daughter to get that promotion and to save the reputation of that prestigious United States military institution. And I'm not bad-mouthing our military institutions. I'm a double veteran, Army, Air Force. I love our institutions. I'm not trying to badmouth it. But what I do remember Kathy saying, you know what? If that was me, I would rather take my daughter and live in a cardboard box than take that promotion. I mean, we cannot go down that road of letting finances and our own insecurities and our own feelings of loneliness ruin our child's life.
Yeah. And for the safety. Right. But that's so common, Dan, when they say, you know, keep it a secret. That was one of the things that my stepfather always constantly told me. Keep it a secret. Don't tell. Nobody's going to believe you if you do tell, you know, and it's our secret. And I felt that special, as sick as it may sound, but I felt that special bond. You know, he was always saying, well, you're a pretty little girl. I love you, you know, so let's keep it a secret. And I would get groomed, you know, the whole grooming process. I would get the gifts. 16 years old, I had that 66 baby blue Mustang, you know, but I had to pay for it. You know, I would pay for these gifts in return. But I kept it a secret. The majority of it was nobody's going to believe you. And if they do, Kathy, your mother and I will get divorced. And you know what? It's going to be your fault that we get divorced.
That is so sad. I mean, to all the parents out there, you need to really be listening to what Kathy's saying, really listening to this show tonight on Mindalia TV. You need to look for the signs. And adults out there, teachers, coaches, wherever you may be, you also need to be looking for the signs. And Angel, it kind of goes back to what we said in that last show. If you have to be that one adult in that kid's life that shows that kid you really care about them, maybe you're the one adult with the connection that gives the kid the courage to speak up. And you need to be that adult. And Kathy, I'm sure you've got a ton of other advice for people out there on what to do about this.
Yeah, and sometimes, Dan, there may be no signs at all. So people have to know, parents have to know, there may be no signs at all. You know, the signs that I had was I would pull out my eyelashes and my eyebrows constantly out of fear, out of nervousness. You know, that's one of the signs. The wearing feet pajamas. I love to be in feet pajamas. I felt safe. But he found his way through my body, even though I covered myself with these feet pajamas. You know, being nervous, fainting all the time. You know, people will say, well, kids may not want to go to school. I loved going to school because if I was in school, I did feel safe. You know, I felt safe at school, but I still did not feel safe enough to disclose to the teacher, to the counselor. I didn't have the knowledge. I didn't have someone telling me, it's okay to talk about it. And that's what these schools need to do. They need to bring people in with true stories like myself and let these students know, let these kids know it's okay to tell. If you can't tell your mom or dad, you have people here that you can trust. And I'm happy to say that, you know, for the month of April, Child Abuse Prevention Month, I will be going into 2 schools. And I'm very honored to say that, you know, I wanted to go into my high school, which is a Catholic high school, and I am going to be getting that opportunity to talk to these kids.
I so like that, Kev. That's wonderful. And I think more people out there need to do what you're doing. And I'm going to talk about that and piggyback on that in 1 second. But one other thing I just want to throw out there for a symptom is that many times kids try to make themselves unattractive. You know, they gain weight, stop showering, stop changing their clothes. So we need to just look for this unkept appearance. But kids are trying to make themselves look unattractive, and that might be a sign. So now to piggyback on what you were saying, Kathy, I love the fact that you're like going into schools and kids can borrow your courage, borrow your social proof, you know, that it's right. This is the right thing to do to speak up. I mean, myself, for many years, I wrote a teen leadership column. And then I started figuring, you know what? I also need to do a parenting column where I talk about these issues of listen, parents, listen, single moms, single dads, whatever. Listen, we all get lonely. It's natural. You know, we all feel insecure. That's normal. You know what I'm saying? But we can't ever overlook our child's safety because of our feelings. You know what I'm saying? I remember one of the parenting column articles I wrote was that parents, you don't have the luxury of being afraid. Now people would say, well, how's being afraid a luxury? Well, it's a luxury if you stick your head in the sand and refuse to do what you know you have to do. That's how it's a luxury. You know, that's not a luxury I think any of us want, but many of us are taking that luxury of the easier way out of sticking our head in the sand rather than standing up to our overpowering significant other that we may be wondering about, or maybe not. Maybe we know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? We don't have the luxury of being weak. We don't have the luxury of being scared. We have to stand up to the class bully who now is an adult and might be our other significant other. So, I mean, these are the sort of things that I'm stepping up and doing, Kathy, with the power of the pen, with the power of my speech. But you've done as far as taking it through everything I'm doing and taking it to advocacy groups and to law.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about that journey of yours and what you've done there?
Sure. Well, with being sexually abused from the age of 7 till I was 17, and then going through the anger times, and then finally, I saw in the newspapers to call this number, 1-800-DIAL-A-LAWYER, and to find out, you know, I had a question of what can I do with what my stepfather did to me? So when I called this number, they said, well, sorry, Kathy, the statute of limitations has run out. The time is too late for you to do anything about the abuse that you went through. I was not going to take no for an answer. So I ended up calling our Boston State House, calling the reps, calling the senators, calling the House Speaker, so much to the point that one aide said, "You're bothering me." And I'm like, "I'm paying your salary. I'm a taxpayer. You need to listen to me. You know, we need to change these laws because I'm too late to go forward to do anything." So I, in fact, did help to change the criminal statute of limitations, which was a person only had until the age of 31 to go forward. Now, and as of in 2006, the law changed, and it's given them the opportunity to go forward for justice until the age of 43. I, in fact, could not do this criminal charge. I couldn't bring them up on this. So then there was the civil statute of limitations, civil meaning monetary. So the monetary civil statute of limitations was only till the age of 21. We, in fact, changed that law on June 26, 2014, giving a survivor until the age of 53 to go forward instead of 21. That was a huge jump. And guess how old I was?
Just under that.
53.
Oh.
So I was very, I went to the signing of the bill, and I said I wanted to be at this public signing because it was very important to me. It was important to me to be at the signing, one, to visually see it because I'm a very visual person, and two, I wanted to get a pen that our former Governor Deval Patrick used to sign this bill into law, not knowing there was a whole table full of pens. So in fact, I got two. So it's very symbolic to me. Yeah. So I texted my attorney and I said, let's go. And my case was the first to go forward in federal court in Springfield, Mass. For a 4-day jury trial in 2015.
Wow. That is so cool.
Yeah.
I love how you stood up to him and said, "I'm a taxpayer, right, for your salary." That was awesome.
Well, and after standing up to him, I was ready to face my stepfather in the courtroom, and big bully, and just, I was always afraid of him. And, but after seeing him, his wimpy self in the courtroom, I knew I could do this.
I was just going to ask you that next, Kathy. Like, how did you find the courage to do this?
I don't know. I think, when I was 28, I told my Aunt Judy, who was like a mom to me, that I didn't have growing up. And, she promised me not to say anything. And by not saying anything, he wins. So my Aunt Judy passed in 2000. And since then, I haven't shut up about it. So, going out and speaking, but I was ready. I was ready. I was angry. I never got the apology from him. And I think if I got the apology, things just might have been a little bit different. From him and from my mother, who knew the abuse was happening and still fed me to a child molester.
Wow. What an incredible story, Kathy. I was listening to all the questions by Daniel, and you were just reading my mind consistently, every single thing I wanted to tell you. So I think we are very much in sync. But, I run an organization. It's called Wisdom for Kids, and what we do is we help underprivileged kids in Latin America become entrepreneurs using the local resources. So we met with a lot of kids, and we stay with them for only a short period of time. So it's difficult for us to obviously we really connect with them, but it's difficult for us to know exactly what's going on in their lives. So my question is going to be: you already said, both of you, that it's difficult to see the signs, but would there be something? Would there be some questions? Would there be some messages? Could we make some statements that maybe could trigger a change inside the lives of those kids so they would feel empowered to step up and say what's going on in their lives?
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the main things to do is to ask them, if anyone is harming you, touching you, let me know. It's okay to talk about it. And they may not want to talk about it then, but to let them know your eye contact and your tone of voice is very important to them. So if you let them know that I am here for you with anything that you want to say, they'll always remember that. And when I go to the police academy, that's what I tell our future cadets, that let them know that you're there for them. Don't be a big bully police officer. Nobody wants to hear about that. Just do your job and do your job right. But if you want to help, you need to tell them that you are there for them when they're ready to come to you.
So I got a question to ask you, Kathy. When this was going on, when you were just a young girl, were you journaling about it at all?
No, I was not. Honestly, I did not think, and as crazy as this sounds, but you hear it all the time, I did not think what was going on was wrong. You know, I was getting the love by him. I was getting the gifts. My mother never said the words, "I love you" to me. He did. So I took that in. Yep. That was my way of thinking I was getting loved by a parent.
Yes. So to piggyback on that, I know one of the exercises I've done over the years is just free writing journaling, where I've come upon kids' problems and issues where I've been able to bring it to the proper authorities. You know, on the chain of command, of course. Yeah. You know, so I just think that, you know, adults out there that are working in the educational field or any of those fields, don't be afraid to use, you know, like a little warm-up exercise to your class, maybe some kind of journaling or free writing. The next thing I'd like to say is that, Kathy, eventually you found your way into writing a book about this sort of thing. I'm sure it was therapeutic.
Very much.
Maybe you could tell us about that journey a little bit and how you ended up going down that road.
Sure. So the book is Life with My Idiot Family, and it's a true story of survival, courage, and justice over childhood sexual abuse. And, you know, we tried to get a couple people to help us to write it, but they're like, because of the nature of the book, they couldn't. So I told my husband, you know what? You're going to have to help me write it. I can't get anybody else.
That's good.
So it was done by a husband and a wife. It took us over 5 years to write it. Very triggering. Brought up some of my past. My husband didn't even know some of the things that had happened to me. You know, we'd be out in the pool when we were starting to finish the book, and my husband's like, "We got to go in the house and write that goddamn book." I go, I know. So the book got done. It got the Reader's Favorite Award in 2017. I'm very honored to talk about my story from the beginning to the end. You know, we call it Life with My Idiot Family because that's what my mother called me and my 3 half sisters growing up. Were idiots. So it's a wonder that I even know my first name.
Wow.
But it's all, you know, the book, the trial, there's deposition. Part of the deposition is in the book. I tell everybody that reads it, the first 30 pages are very raw. They're to the point, but by hearing me and knowing who I am today, you know that it's got a positive outcome to it.
In writing the book, Kathy, did you find it therapeutic, and would you advise others to kind of do something similar, writing a book?
Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be, you know, 5 years long. You can just make a book, like you said, journaling of just different letters, different poems. You don't have to go into as long of a detailed story as I did. Your story is your story, and you tell it as long as you want it and the way you want to write it.
No doubt. What an amazing story you have, Kathy. And Angel, over there in the Latin American, what you do with the entrepreneurs, I'm sure you come across this sort of thing at least occasionally, don't you?
Yes, you know, as opposed to both of you, you know, we typically, I mean, we go more than one time to the same community, so we help those kids to become entrepreneurs. We get in touch with the families in a second stage. So basically, initially, we identify those kids that have, you know, the ability, the willingness, the gifts to become entrepreneurs. So we kind of identify talent, and then we start moving forward on their entrepreneurship path. It's difficult for us to identify because they all live in very, very difficult situation from a let's say from a wealth perspective. You know, they live in areas. We like to go a lot to indigenous communities because 95% of those communities are really hopeless. Literally, they will be poor until they die. 95%, and there's 81 million kids in poverty in Latin America. So, you know, it's difficult to identify that. That's why it's it's so hard to listen from you guys that there are no symptoms. There can be no symptoms. And even with the teachers, obviously we have if we go to a place where there's a school and we talk to the teachers, I mean, they try not to get involved in a lot of those situations. So we know we really don't. I mean, it's a different situation. Let's say the level of accountability of teachers in this country, in our country, is different to the one in Latin America. It's completely different.
Yeah.
So again, there's a lot of cultural differences, but we would love to be able to, to speak up whenever we found that situation. We definitely we give hope to a lot of people through the idea that, because we work a lot on self-esteem, self-esteem is our number one thing. Yeah. Telling them that, they're really able to do anything. They're able, and whatever they decide to do and decide to be is the right thing to do, the right thing to be. Just trying to look for happiness, not to to please anybody but themselves. So we know, and we use meditation, and we know we use energy, and we channel energy adequately. But it's difficult. That's why I was asking her, what's the right way to then maybe ask the right question, so you trigger something in this kid's mind, because kids are just infinitely powerful, as you know, and the younger we go, the more excited we get, because you see those 7-year-old boys and girls super excited and embracing everything and engaging with us and understanding what becoming an entrepreneur means. So that means that being a 7-year-old, you definitely can decide and change the future of your life forever, in any sense. So if they're going through that burden that you just described, and unfortunately you suffered in your life, I'm definitely, we wish we could do something about it. We could identify that, and we could help them have a better future.
Yeah.
So anyway, so thank you.
But I would say, Angel, you're already indirectly doing that. One of the key things that you said was, one of your missions is to build their self-esteem.
Oh, absolutely.
And when you build their self-esteem, you give them that courage, that self-value, and some of them just might speak up, you know what I'm saying, because of that self-esteem that you have fostered in them. Now, Kathy, I know you say sometimes you don't know where your courage came from, but I mean, I don't know this might be a difficult question, but how can we embolden and empower our children out there and give them some courage to kind of do what you did, Kathy?
Dan, I still go back to the point where having someone talk to them, go into the schools and saying, this is what Kathy went through. This is who she is today. Giving them permission to talk about, that it's okay to talk about, letting them be leaders, like Angel said, giving them that leaders and not followers, not following in, their parents' steps if they have a bad, relationship, but giving them permission to be leaders and going out there and being the best that they can be. It's important.
And I'd love to see schools to stop fixating so much on test scores and get back to educating the whole child, so that they have this self-esteem, they have this social emotional intelligence, that they can figure out that this is wrong and I'm not going to take it anymore.
And that they're safe and that they're healthy. It's scary. The youngest I've heard of someone being sexually abused is a 2-month-old baby. It's scary. People say to me quite often, I'm not teaching my child that. Well, you know what? As soon as your child is talking, you need to have that conversation with them. You need to let them know that their body is their body and people should not be touching it inappropriately.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'd love to see some kind of educational programs continuing within the community out there for parents. I know I tried to do my little itty bitty piece of writing a parenting column, because I was like, for years I was writing the teen leadership column, and I'm like, this is not hitting where it needs to hit I think the most. And I'm thinking, I need to hit the parents, to hit within the home, within the parents, and say, these are the things that are going on. And this is how you become a leader parent.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That leadership role within the parent realm, as well as the leadership realm within our youth. It's like a a two-forked leadership prong. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And I'd love to see more of that.
And it's sad, Dan, because with the PTOs or where you invite the parents, you know, in the parents' mind, they're like, I'm not going to go to that school auditorium. It's not happening to my child. Well, go there, go to that auditorium, go and get more education, bring awareness, because maybe it's not happening in your home, which is great, but your child's friend, your other family members, it could be happening. You know, get that awareness that you need.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think the home that it is happening in, Kathy, they're probably not bringing their kid. So
you're right. It's
so
not
if
happening. Not
yeah,
happening.
your kid, if my kid, if 8 kids go, you know,
Yeah.
then
You know,
maybe they can reach out to their friends.
absolutely. You know, sleepovers, that's another whole red flag. You got to be careful. So many parents are like, well, my child's going to go to sleepover. You need to make sure your child's safe. Sleepovers, it does happen. I don't care if they're friends. It does happen. Be careful.
Oh, I got to tell you, like when I was growing up, Kathy and Angel, my parents were pretty liberal with those sleepovers. I could pretty much sleep over anybody's house I wanted.
Yeah.
So then when I got married and my wife was like, no.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, what's going on here? My wife won't let her kids sleep over anybody's house.
Good
But
for her.
Over the years of being an educator, I have slowly grown to learn that my wife was a little wiser than I was.
Have
in this
kids
realm.
come over your house. Have them sleep over your house.
Yeah, let them come over here. Then my wife, she's just like, she don't even want her kids going over somebody's house that we don't know.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know that parent, so the answer is no.
Smart lady.
And
Smart
for
lady.
years, I was like, man, my wife is so strict.
Yep.
But I think that maybe we can all learn something from my wife.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah. No, I'm on the same page as your wife. It's very important. You know, the kids may be upset at you then, but when they get older and they have kids on their own, they're going to do the exact same thing. So it's smart.
And I would say to the parents out there, Kathy and Angel, I would say get to know the other parents within your community. You know, go to your kids' soccer games, go to the school plays, the school picnics, you know, bazaars, whatever. Get to know the parents within your community so that you know the parents, and when your kids ask, you have an informed answer to give them.
Yeah.
I feel so comforted now because just a couple of weeks ago, actually, that's a true story. So one of my kids, I'm not going to say who, just not to disclose who the parents were, but you know, and I have to say I love the parents, but they offered to have a sleepover. But it was the first time ever I met with them. So there was a birthday party going on, and then they said, "Why don't you let your kids stay the night?" And I said, immediately I said no. Although, and then obviously my kid was very upset, and why not? If it's been such a nice birthday party and blah blah blah. But yeah, I mean, again, I mean, you never know. I mean, you have to get to know the family. You have to get to know them in as you said, Dan. School games or sports games and parents conferences and this kind of thing, open houses in the school. There's all these kind of activities that give you more trust. Again, don't care so much about what the others are going to say. Just do whatever your intuition is telling you, what your heart is telling you. If your heart is telling you, you'd rather be cautious, just be cautious. Don't be expecting the approval of anybody else, So ask your kids to be brave, ask your kids to be brave. They don't have to go with the rest of their peers, and they have to do the same that the other peers do. No, just be yourself, and obviously respect your dad for their decision, whatever that is, because exactly, it's experience. We have a little bit more of experience.
And do those unexpected drop-ins, when you're not expected to drop in, just to see what's going on.
Okay.
You know,
Oh,
but
yeah.
the other thing is, Angel, too, is, you know, sometimes the child may be in danger, and do that passcode, have a code where the kid can pick up the phone and just say the word blue. And to you and the child, you know that that's a code that you may have, that they're in trouble, because they're not going to be able to say on the phone, I'm in trouble, come and get me. But if there's a passcode, blue, you know, and change that code every now and then. But to have that between you and the child is important to do.
You know, have them text it, because that's kind of like what kids do today. But going back to what you were saying, Angel, there was quite a few times, you know, I got a daughter that's getting ready to go to college. And quite a few times I showed up at wherever she was at midnight to pick her up and bring her home. And the first couple of times she was crying. I know I'm the only one that can't sleep over. And now, you know, it's different. The fact that she got, you know, she says, Dad, can I sleep over so-and-so? Oh, she says, so-and-so's having a party. I'm going over there tonight. And then she looks at me and she goes, I know. You'll be there at midnight to pick me up. I get it. You know, and she's cool with it now, Angel. You know, Kathy, she understands.
Good.
And I'm going to be there at midnight to pick her up.
Good. Because, Dan, I do have to share with you, you know, I just discovered somebody had educated me on the red zone. I don't know if you're familiar with that for college, but it's sad. But in kids going to college, 1 in every 6 will be sexually assaulted. And this happens during the month of September, October, and November. So, you know, kids going off to college, you have to be really, you know, get educated on the red zone.
I agree with you. That's definitely a difficult time. No doubt about it. So that goes back to what you were saying, Kathy, before. We need to talk to our kids, and I guess no age is too early.
No.
We need to talk to our kids and educate them on these matters.
Yep.
Nor too late, right? Nor too late.
Right.
It's never too late. And you are the living example of that, Kathy.
There was a molester, a perpetrator, that his words during an interview is, show me a kid that knows nothing about sexual abuse, and you've given me my next victim.
Wow.
There you go.
That's powerful.
Very.
Oh my God.
I think every adult out there should hear that, Kathy.
Very.
Wow. Well, anyway, it's been an amazing conversation, Kathy. I mean, I'm so much impressed about what you have done and what you have accomplished. Really, I mean, congratulations. Keep on writing and keep on speaking up, because it's so much needed. I mean, 1 out of 6 in college. This is incredible. 1 out of 6 in college, which are supposed to be already the mature ones, the ones that can stand for themselves. You know, so. Oh my God! So where can we find you online? How can people reach out to you when they see this interview?
I'm more or less on Facebook. You know, they can also, you know, I'm on Twitter and Instagram, but Facebook and LinkedIn. They can email me, Kathy with a K, childadvocate@gmail.com. The book is on Amazon. I'm very honored and proud to say that I did the narrating of the book, and it will be on audio. And that will be on Audible, iTunes, and what's the other one? Amazon. And that will be probably next week. It's about a 9-hour audio that I did myself. And that took a long time to do. And again, it triggered just like the book. But I'm just very glad that it's done.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Kathy, what's your last name so that people know? I think we haven't shared it.
Picard. Picard, Picard, like Jean-Luc.
Awesome. Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
thank you very much. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. Really. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Absolutely. Likewise. And Stan, excuse me, Stan. Dan, where can we find you? Excuse me.
All right. Just real quick, Kathy, from one author to another author, I want to congratulate you on your audiobook. So that's awesome. And Angel, everyone can find me at danblanchard.net or granddaddy6.com. or all over social media, Facebook, all of them. I'm everywhere. Amazon, check out my book, The Storm. I'll be very easy to find.
Excellent.